The world decided to play a cruel joke on Rex. One minute he was whistling a pop song on his way home from work. The next, it felt like his brain had decided to throw a rave party without inviting the rest of his body. Splitting headache? Try a supernova in his skull. He vaguely remembered some weird lights dancing in the park, then a flash, and nothing. Until now. Rex blinked, or at least he thought he did. His eyelids felt heavy, glued shut with a cosmic adhesive. When they finally fluttered open, he wished they hadn't. He was naked, which was always a bad sign, and strapped down like a particularly stubborn Thanksgiving turkey to a cold, steel table. The room was aggressively white, the kind of white that screams sterile and whispers existential dread. Greetings, Terran Specimen Designation 7, ALPHA 9. The voice seemed to float from everywhere and nowhere, a disembodied echo that vibrated in his bones. Rex's first thought was, is this a prank show? Because if it is, they're really committing. The words were gibberish at first, like trying to listen to a heavy metal band play underwater. Then, something weird happened. The gibberish started making sense, not in English, not in any language he'd ever heard, but somehow, his brain just got it. It was like his mind suddenly downloaded a universal translator app, complete with a glitchy interface. The voice continued, its tone flat and devoid of emotion. A symbiotic linguistic modulator has affixed itself to your cranial region. This allows for direct cognitive interface. Do you comprehend? A symbiotic linguistic modulator. Rex tried to move his head, but it was stuck fast. So you're saying I've got some weird alien goo in my head that's making me understand you? Great. Just what I always wanted. A brain parasite that moonlights as a Rosetta Stone. He paused. And you're definitely not human, are you? Last I checked, we don't usually go around gluing language-altering parasites to people. The voice was silent for a moment. Rex imagined it was processing his sarcasm, probably filing it under unusual vocalizations or signs of extreme neurological malfunction. He was enjoying this. If he was going to be abducted by aliens, he was at least going to make it interesting for them. Suddenly, a section of the pristine white wall shimmered and then simply vanished, revealing a doorway. 2 figures stepped through. Rex squinted. They were wearing hazmat suits, which, to his surprise, looked remarkably similar to human ones, right down to the bulky gloves and opaque visors. So aliens have fashion sense, or maybe they just copied ours. Probably copied ours. Then, one of them lifted their visor, and Rex immediately regretted his earlier thought. Inside, where a normal human face should be, was something that looked like a nightmare had a baby with a very shriveled spider. Multiple eyes gleamed in the dim light, and their skin was a patchwork of leathery folds, definitely not human, and definitely not winning any beauty pageants. The shorter of the two, who radiated an air of authority, stepped forward. Terran subject, can you comprehend my queries? Its voice, now modulated through the hazmat suit speaker, was a low, guttural rumble that still somehow translated perfectly in Rex's head. Rex considered his options. Scream, cry, plead. Nah. He went with classic Rex. Comprehend? Oh, absolutely. Is this where I find out what happened to Elvis? Because honestly, I've had a theory for years involving alien abduction and a lifetime supply of peanut butter and banana sandwiches. He wiggled his eyebrows, or at least tried to. Being strapped down was a real mood killer. Or are we just going straight to the invasive medical probe jokes? Because I've got a few good ones about that too. Involves a rubber glove and a very surprised proctologist. The two aliens exchanged what Rex could only describe as a confused, multi-eyed stare. The shorter one tilted its head. The subject's vocalizations are illogical. Is the neural interface corrupted? Or is this a display of hostility? Hostility, Rex scoffed, a little puff of air escaping his nose. No, my multi-eyed friend. This is what we call sarcasm. It's a human thing. You should get used to it. We use it when we're confused, annoyed, or, being held against our will on a mysterious spaceship by spider-faced aliens. The taller alien, who seemed more focused on a tablet it held, finally spoke, its voice calmer and more analytical. The interface is stable, Captain. His vocalizations are within expected human parameters for sarcasm, as he puts it. Proceed with interrogation. The captain, as Rex now mentally dubbed the shorter one, grunted. "Very well. Subject, prepare for interrogation." "How did your species survive?" the captain began, its voice still a low rumble. "Our historical data indicates your planetary biome is catastrophically hostile. Furthermore, how did you achieve a population density exceeding 7 billion individuals?" Rex sighed dramatically. "Oh, we're just really good at stubbornness. And breeding. Mostly breeding. It's our superpower, really. We just kept making more of us, until we filled every nook and cranny. Like glitter. You can never get rid of it." The taller alien, the science officer by Rex's new mental designation, interrupted. "Captain, the subject's gibberish appears to be a form of psychological defense mechanism. It is highly improbable he possesses accurate historical data regarding his species' origins or survival." It turned its multi-eyed gaze to Rex. "Terran, do you possess knowledge of the Crickle Plague?" Rex blinked. "The what now? Sounds like something you'd catch at a really bad alien buffet. Never heard of it." The science officer tapped at its tablet. His bioscans indicate no active Crickle infection. However, there is a distinct and unprecedented immunity to similar pathogenic agents. "Oh, so I'm a walking biohazard but also a walking cure? Neat." Rex tried to look as innocent as possible, which was hard when he was naked and strapped down. "And what of your infantry species?" the captain pressed. Suddenly, the plain white wall beside them shimmered again, not vanishing this time, but transforming into a massive, holographic screen. An image materialized, a hulking, muscular figure, undeniably primitive in its facial features, yet clad in sleek, high-tech armor. It looked like a caveman who'd somehow stumbled into a futuristic armory and decided to go on a rampage. "Whoa, is that a Neanderthal?" Rex asked, genuinely surprised. "What did you guys do, raid a prehistoric fashion show?" "Identify this specimen," the captain commanded. "Yeah, that's a Neanderthal." "Or at least, what we think a Neanderthal looked like," Rex confirmed. "Old-school humans. What happened to them?" "Well, they hung around with us for a few thousand years, then kinda faded out. Maybe they interbred. We're pretty good at mixing things up, genetically speaking." He winked. "It's how we get all the fun variations, like redheads and people who can wiggle their ears." "And the Chimera Commandos?" the captain asked, a hint of something that sounded like impatience in its modulated voice. Rex shrugged as much as he could. "Never heard of them. Sounds like a really edgy video game team." The science officer took over, tapping furiously at its tablet. The screen shifted from the Neanderthal to a swirling green-blue orb Earth. But it wasn't the serene blue marble Rex knew. It was depicted as a swirling maelstrom of violent storms and erupting volcanoes. "This designation is inaccurate. This world, as our records attest, is a hell world." "Hell world? Seriously? We have Starbucks." Rex scoffed. "The Chimera," the science officer continued, ignoring Rex's silent protest, "are ancient genetic manipulators from a distant quadrant of the galaxy. They seek to perfect species, absorbing or annihilating those who resist their manipulations." The screen flickered. Now it showed something truly bizarre. A classic flying saucer, straight out of a cheesy 1950s sci-fi movie, firing laser beams at a very confused-looking Tyrannosaurus Rex. Rex almost laughed. "Is that a T-Rex? You guys invaded Earth when dinosaurs were still around. Talk about bad timing." "This was the second wave invasion," the science officer explained, its voice flat. "The Chimera utilized indigenous dragons, large reptilian predators, as biological weapons. We, the Galactic Confederacy, were forced to deploy an asteroid impactor to neutralize the threat." Rex's jaw would have dropped if it wasn't fused to the table. "You guys crashed an asteroid into Earth to kill dinosaurs. No wonder things got weird after that." The screen changed again. Now it showed the armored Neanderthal alongside a distinctly modern human figure, both moving with a brutal efficiency that sent a chill down Rex's spine. "This represents the third wave invasion," the science officer droned on. "These were designated, quote, ground troops. Again, indigenous to this hell world. The science officer paused, its multi-eyed gaze seeming to bore into Rex. Your species, Terran, proved to be extremely versatile shock troops. Your physiology demonstrates remarkable regenerative capabilities, aggressive behavioral patterns, and a disconcerting resilience to both psionic and chemical attacks. Your numbers, as you indicated, are prolific. Yeah, we're tough cookies, Rex muttered, a flicker of pride mixed with unease. Due to these extreme resistances, the science officer continued, we were compelled to deploy a highly virulent, species-specific plague to effect your eradication. Your sector was then quarantined and blockaded for millennia. It paused again, its multiple eyes seeming to widen slightly. It is therefore inexplicable that your species not only survived but thrived, exceeding all previous population metrics. Rex smirked. Surprise! We're like cockroaches, but with better fashion sense and a penchant for reality TV. You just can't get rid of us. This hell world, the science officer concluded, its voice tinged with what sounded like exasperation, continuously produces new iterations of vicious, unpredictable biological weaponry. That is why we are here. Rex narrowed his eyes. So you're here to try and wipe us out again? The captain, who had been silent, suddenly interjected, its voice sharp. Negative. The Chimera are accumulating power. A fourth wave is imminent. We are assessing. Rex's eyebrows shot up. A fourth wave, huh? Bet that'll be a real blast. Probably involves giant space hamsters with laser eyes. He saw the two aliens recoil slightly, a flicker of something like dread in their many eyes. They didn't deny it. Rex allowed himself a small, internal smirk. Gotcha. After the captain's grim announcement, the two aliens, who Rex mentally christened Captain Squiggle Eyes and Science Officer Clipboard, vanished through the shimmering wall, leaving him once again alone, naked, and strapped to the steel table. His body still screamed in protest, a symphony of aches and phantom pains. Nausea churned in his stomach, a persistent reminder that being abducted was not good for digestion. Okay, Rex, time to channel your inner Jackie Chan, he thought, trying to visualize a daring escape sequence. In his head, he was already gracefully dismounting the table, disarming a dozen guards with a well-placed kick, and then doing a cool flip into the nearest escape pod. Reality, however, was less cinematic. He was still stuck. His mind wandered, a strange mix of fear and defiance. He thought of his mum, a stern but loving force, who'd always told him to, quote, use his words. He thought of his school days, especially those endless skirmishes with Billy Keegan, the school bully. Billy was all brawn, Rex was all mouth. Usually, his talking got him into more trouble than it got him out of. But he'd learned a few things about aggravating people. And aliens, it seemed, were just really big, multi-eyed people. A moment later, the door shimmered, and Captain Squiggle Eyes re-entered. It strode purposefully towards the table, its multi-eyes fixed on Rex. Terran, where is your leader? Rex blinked, genuinely confused. My leader? You mean, like, the person who tells me what to do? Or the person who leads the entire planet? Captain Squiggle Eyes tilted its head, a gesture Rex now recognized as alien perplexity. The dominant alpha, the single, unified authority of your species. Rex let out a burst of laughter, which quickly turned into a painful cough. Oh man, you guys are adorable. Unified authority. You think we have one leader for everyone on Earth? We can barely agree on which way to hang the toilet paper, let alone who gets to run the entire planet. He shook his head, or tried to. We've got, like, hundreds of leaders. Presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, dictators, pop stars, influencers. It's a whole thing. A messy, chaotic, beautiful thing. Captain Squiggle Eyes stood frozen, its many eyes blinking slowly. Rex could almost hear the alien CPU whirring, trying to process this absurd concept. Multiple dominant alphas. This is inefficient and illogical. Yeah, well, we're not big on efficiency when it comes to leadership, Rex quipped, enjoying the alien's confusion. We prefer a good old-fashioned argument, maybe a protest or two, and then we elect someone we'll probably complain about for the next 4 years. It's democracy, baby. He kept going, throwing out funny, sarcastic answers to every question the captain posed, delighting in the alien's visible struggle to compute his human absurdity. He knew he was playing with fire, but what else did he have to lose? Finally, Captain Squiggle Eyes seemed to reach its limit for human sarcasm. It let out a frustrated rumble and exited the room, leaving Rex once more to his own devices. "All right, Jackie Chan," Rex mumbled to himself. "Time to work some magic." He focused on the straps holding him down. They were thick, metallic, and seemed impossibly secure. But as he strained, he felt a tiny give, a minuscule looseness in the strap around his right arm. It was barely perceptible, but it was there. With painstaking slowness, he began to pull, to twist, to subtly shift his weight, coaxing the strap to loosen inch by agonizing inch. His fingers brushed against a small, rough patch on the strap itself, a spot that felt different from the smooth steel. He pressed it, curiosity overriding caution. Click! The strap sprang open with a soft hiss. Rex stared, then grinned. "Bingo! Alien engineering meets human ingenuity!" He quickly located the same rough patches on the other straps. A triumphant click hiss echoing in the sterile room with each release. In less than a minute, he was completely unbound. Kara Pardasai, he swung his legs off the table, his muscles protesting the sudden movement. He was free! Now, for the escape. He moved towards the shimmering door, a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. Just as he reached for it, the door slid open from the outside, revealing a new alien guard. This one was different, tall, slender, with segmented limbs and a head that looked disturbingly like a giant grasshopper. And in its hand it held a device that looked suspiciously like a weapon. Riggs didn't hesitate. He lunged for the door, hoping to slip past the surprised guard. But the ship's low gravity, combined with the incredibly slippery white floor, betrayed him. His feet went out from under him, and he stumbled, then crashed to the floor in an undignified heap. The grasshopper alien reacted instantly. A blinding flash erupted from its weapon, followed by a searing, electric pain that ripped through Rex's body. He gasped, his vision blurring, and a wave of nausea hit him so hard he involuntarily retched, a messy splash on the pristine floor. "Shoot him again!" Captain Squiggle Eye's voice boomed, suddenly returning to the doorway. Another blinding flash, another gut-wrenching shock. Rex's body convulsed, and this time, the world went black. Rex awoke to a dull, throbbing ache that permeated every inch of his being. The good news: he wasn't naked anymore. He was wearing a hazmat suit, albeit one that was several sizes too big, and felt like it had been designed for someone with 4 elbows. The bad news: he was still being held captive, though this time by an invisible force that pressed him firmly against a wall, making it impossible to move. Before him stood Science Officer Clipboard and Captain Squiggle Eyes, their multi-eyes scanning him with an intensity that bordered on frantic. Both of them seemed to be doing a strange, tiny dance with their lower limbs, a nervous little shuffle that Rex found oddly amusing despite his predicament. "It is inexplicable, Captain," Science Officer Clipboard buzzed, its voice a rapid series of clicks and whistles that the modulator barely translated. He sustained 4 direct energy impacts. Our projections indicated immediate cellular collapse. Captain Squiggle Eyes twitched. Our historical data is clear. Terrans should not survive such trauma. Their records indicate a fragility comparable to other unaugmented carbon-based lifeforms. Our records also indicate a significant resistance to neural disruption, Science Officer Clipboard countered, tapping its tablet. And a rapid cellular regeneration rate in response to energy-based weapons. This Terran is clearly an anomaly. Rex watched them, amused by their little nervous jig. "Why are you two so scared?" he asked, his voice a little hoarse. His words had an immediate effect. The nervous shuffling stopped dead. Both aliens froze, then slowly, almost imperceptibly, took a step back. The air in the room suddenly felt thick with their apprehension. Captain Squiggle Eyes stammered, The psionic suppressors, are they failing, Vulcan?" It turned to the science officer. "Terrans are not known to possess psionic capabilities. Psionic suppressors." Rex's eyebrows shot up. "They think I'm reading their minds. That's even better." He suppressed a grin. Relax, Squiggly. I'm not reading your mind. I'm just good at reading body language. And right now, your body language screams, "Oh no, the human we just shot 4 times is still alive and slightly miffed." He tried to shrug, but the invisible force kept him pinned. "Now, if you don't mind, could you kindly unglue me from the wall? My spine is starting to complain." "He killed Keklungjug," Captain Squiggle Eyes suddenly roared, its voice echoing in the small room. Rex blinked. "I killed your guard? What are you talking about?" "I didn't even get close to the guy. I was too busy tripping over my own feet and getting shot." Your diseases," the captain insisted, its multi-eyes flitting nervously. His biomonitors indicated massive pathogenic contamination shortly before cellular collapse. Rex smirked. "Oh, so now it's my fault your guard dropped dead? Wow. You guys are really reaching. I guess we humans are just a filthy, disease-ridden species, aren't we? So whose fault is it that you beamed me onto your perfectly sterile ship?" He gave them his most innocent look. "Certainly not mine. I just wanted to go home and watch some bad reality TV." The captain's nervous dance started up again, faster this time, like a hyperactive hummingbird. "You should not exist. Not with a 4th wave imminent." "4th wave?" Rex interrupted, feigning a yawn. "Is that like a Star Trek episode where one get imprisoned with a beautiful alien woman I have to teach about kissing? Because if so, count me in. Just, maybe less torture this time." Captain Squiggle Eyes ignored him, turning to Science Officer Clipboard. "Can he be terminated?" "Our records indicate Terrans are fragile, yet resilient." Science Officer Clipboard, who Rex now noted was looking at him with a mixture of fear and intense curiosity, replied, "Fragile in the conventional sense, Captain. A solid impact, a severe blunt force trauma, these are effective, but their resistance to specific energy and chemical attacks is unique." "Exactly," Rex chimed in. "A good old-fashioned football kick to the joysack still works. Basic physics, really." The captain's multi-eyes narrowed. "Has the Chimera contacted your species? Has they made offers?" Rex considered this. "Nah, not any credible ones. We get a lot of weirdos on Earth claiming alien contact. But mostly, they just want to sell you their self-published book, or tell you how the moon landing was faked. As far as official contact goes, nah. We built our own rockets, invented our own internet, and generally caused all our own problems. No aliens needed for that." The captain slowly, deliberately, asked, "If we were to contact the multiple, dominant alphas you mentioned, would they ally with us? Or would they rejoin the Chimera?" Rex snorted. "Ally with you, buddy. Our leaders can't even agree on what to have for lunch on a good day. You think they're going to agree to join a galactic war against some ancient genetic tinkerers? Good luck with that." Science Officer Clipboard, Vulsin as the captain had called her, stepped closer, her multiple eyes fixed on Rex. "Your species, you fight among yourselves. You cannot cooperate." "Whoa, hold on a sec," Rex interjected, shaking his head as much as the invisible force allowed. "We're actually really good at cooperating. It's just more complicated than dominant alpha gives order, everyone obeys. We have debates, arguments, protests. Then we compromise, or we don't. And then we have more arguments. It's a whole thing. It's complex." Vulsin tilted her head, her multi-eyes swiveling in confusion. "Complexity? Is this a weakness?" Rex deadpanned. "Nah, it's a feature. So, are you guys just gonna surrender to the Chimera then? Because if you can't handle complexity, you're gonna have a bad time." Vulsin flinched. "The Chimera operate against all principles of our species' ethical and biological integrity. We will struggle, not cooperate with them." "See," Rex said. "Complicated. Told ya." Vulsin sighed, a strange wheezing sound that translated as exasperation. "Perhaps we should acquire another Terran specimen. This one, he talks in circles." Captain Squiggle Eyes grunted in agreement. "Indeed, though our disposal methods appear ineffective." Rex's ears perked up. Disposal methods? They were going to dispose of me, or hell no. He had to act fast. He remembered the last time he felt this desperate. "Excuse me," Rex said, trying to sound as polite as possible, "but where are the facilities?" The two aliens exchanged confused glances. "Facilities," Captain Squiggle Eyes repeated, its multi-eyes blinking slowly. "Is this more gibberish?" Rex sighed dramatically. "No, Captain. Facilities. You know, for waste. What happens after you eat? It comes out. The other end. And if you leave me here much longer, strapped to this wall, then if I expire, your word, not mine, you're going to have a much bigger mess to clean up in this very expensive hazmat suit." He made a disgusted face. "And trust me, you do not want to be the ones cleaning that up. It'll be complex." Captain Squiggle Eyes hesitated, then its arm flicked. Rex heard a faint click, and the invisible force holding him against the wall vanished. He stumbled forward, catching himself just before he face-planted. "You will remain in this quadrant," the captain began, its voice firm. But Rex wasn't listening. He had learned two crucial things. Aliens wore hazmat suits, and aliens were surprisingly gullible when it came to human bodily functions. Before the captain could finish its warning, Rex shoved the shorter alien with both hands, sending it stumbling back, then sprinted for the door. Rex found himself hurtling down a long, white hallway. The hazmat suit, loose and ill-fitting, flapped around him like a confused kite. Behind him, he could hear the frantic clatter of alien footsteps. Aliens who, he now realized, probably wanted to turn him into a very flat, very dead pancake. "Okay, Rex. Deep breaths," he thought, his heart hammering against his ribs. "This is not ideal. Questions. Questions. Should I have taken the longer, safer route through the park? Did I really need that extra large coffee this morning? More importantly, how in the universe do I get off this glorified alien Tupperware container?" The hallway was maddeningly uniform. Plain, white, with no obvious doors or exits. It was like they'd designed it to be as disorienting as possible. But then he remembered how those pesky restraints had opened. A tiny, rough patch. He had to assume the doors worked the same way. He ran his hand along the wall at shoulder height, his fingers searching, feeling. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Ah! His fingertips brushed against a slightly coarse texture. He pressed. With a soft hiss, a section of the wall slid open beside him, revealing a narrow, dark space crammed with pipes and conduits. It looked like a maintenance shaft, far too small for him to squeeze through. "Nope, not a good place to hide," he muttered, quickly moving on. He found another rough patch. Another door hissed open. This one led to a room filled with low, strange tables. No chairs, just sunken areas around them, like futuristic beanbag pits. Maybe a lounge? Definitely not an escape route. Rex pressed on, his mind racing. He wasn't even sure what he was looking for. A spaceship with a "Press Here for Earth" button. A conveniently placed escape pod with a sign saying, "Humans only." He found a third rough patch, pushed, and the door slid open. He froze. This room was different. Taller, longer, bathed in an unnaturally bright, almost fluorescent light. From the ceiling hung long, translucent sheets, draped over tubs of a glowing blue liquid. And on these sheets, rows upon rows of leafy, alien plants, unlike anything he'd ever seen, flourished. "Whoa," Rex breathed. "A hydroponics room. So, this is where they grow their cosmic kale." Suddenly, Captain Squiggle Eye's voice boomed from the hallway, amplified and distorted. "Terran, cease your evasion. You cannot escape." Rex stepped fully into the hydroponics room, letting the door hiss shut behind him. He then deliberately lifted his hand to the side of his ill-fitting hazmat helmet, making sure the captain would notice the gesture. "Hey, Squiggly," he shouted, hoping his voice would carry through the ship's comms. "Can you hear me? Do you know where I am?" The captain's voice was tight. "We hear you, Terran. And we are aware of your location." Good, good, Rex said, nodding. He gestured dramatically at the glowing blue tubs and leafy plants. Nice place you've got here. Very green. Very vital. He paused for effect, then leaned in conspiratorially as if sharing a secret. You know, this hazmat suit. It's not exactly airtight. And I, Rex, am a veritable walking germ factory. Silence. The captain seemed to be processing this. So, Rex continued, his voice dripping with mock innocence. What do you think would happen if I were to, say, take this helmet off? Just for a second. Breathe in all that lovely, vital air. Let all my little Earth microbes, the ones that make your guards drop dead, remember? Just float around your precious hydroponics bay. Think of the havoc, your vital air supply, your food source contaminated. He shuddered dramatically. It would be a mess, a very biohazardous mess. More silence. Rex could almost taste the alien panic. And here's the kicker, Rex added, pushing his luck. Even if you do shoot me again, right now, I could still pop this helmet open on the way down. A final glorious act of biological warfare. Splat. Germs everywhere. What do you want, Terran? Captain Squiggle Eye's voice was strained, no longer booming, but a low, guttural growl. Rex grinned. Simple. I want to talk. No restraints, no threats. And a firm, binding promise that you'll take me home when this little chat is over. Preposterous, the captain roared. We could incinerate that entire bay. We have other cultivation units. Rex decided it was time for his grand finale, his most audacious bluff yet. He lowered his voice, making it sound conspiratorial. Okay. Fine. Your call. But before you do that, tell me, did your records mention anything about death beams? Silence. A very long, very unsettling silence. Then, Volsin's voice, hesitant and uncertain, broke the quiet. He is lying, Captain. Our records contain no such Terran capability. Oh, am I? Rex challenged, making his voice sound gravely serious. Think about it. We're immune to your plagues, resistant to your energy weapons, and we survived being shot 4 times, and yet you haven't managed to wipe us out. Doesn't that sound just a little bit suspicious? Wouldn't it be just crazy for the Chimera to have given us a little something extra? Like, say, the ability to project lethal energy from our minds. Think of the irony. You try to kill us, we adapt, and then bam, death beam to the face. More silence. This time, Rex could almost feel the gears grinding in their alien brains. Finally, Captain Squiggle Eyes' voice returned, weary and resigned. Very well, Terran, we will talk. No threats, no restraints. And the going home part? Rex pressed. You will be returned to your point of acquisition, the captain conceded. Rex smiled. He slowly lowered his arm, his fingers finding the rough patch near the hydroponics room door. He pressed it. The door slid open, revealing Captain Squiggle Eyes, science officer clipboard, and 2 armed guards, their weapons still aimed. Deal, Rex said, stepping out, a slight wobble in his step. He pushed past the stunned aliens, giving them a cheerful wave. Now, if you don't mind, can someone please show me to those facilities? Because after all that excitement, I really gotta go. Rex quickly discovered that his idealized vision of spaceship life, largely fueled by childhood reruns of Star Trek, was a gross exaggeration. First, the bathrooms. Forget sleek, futuristic commodes that whisked waste into a quantum singularity. The alien facilities involved a surprisingly primitive system of jettisoning waste directly into hard vacuum. The sheer thought of it made Rex deeply uncomfortable, and he spent his time there with an irrational fear of being accidentally sucked out into space along with his, well, waste. Then there was the bridge. In movies, it was always a symphony of flashing lights, holographic displays, and dramatic chairs. Here, it was another aggressively white room, albeit slightly larger. There were no flashy consoles, just more smooth, featureless surfaces. He counted 4 greyish-skinned aliens, and one, notably, with yellowish skin. Rex's stomach tightened. He recognized the yellowish alien. It was the guard who had shot him. "Hey!" Rex blurted out, pointing a finger at the yellow-skinned alien. "I thought you were dead! Like really, truly dead!" Science Officer Clipboard, Vulsin, as Rex now remembered her name, floated forward slightly, her multiple eyes blinking slowly. Koljing was merely incapacitated. He underwent cellular restructuring and is now fully functional. Dead is a fluid concept in our species. Rex stared. Fluid concept? No. Dead means dead. Like not coming back, not walking around, having a cup of coffee, and shooting me again. That's just injured, with a really good medical plan. He looked directly at Vlisin, and then the captain. "All right, new rule. Rule 1 for our little chats. Dead means not getting up again. Ever. And anyone who disagrees can feel free to shoot me as I try to escape. Deal." A tense silence filled the bridge. The other grey aliens shifted uncomfortably. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Captain Squiggle Eyes gave a slow, deliberate nod. "Agreed. Dead, as defined by Terran parameters." "Good," Rex said, feeling a small victory. "Now, for Rule 2, no more lying. Seriously. You guys are terrible at it. You said your mission was official, then you started telling me about a plague I'd never heard of, and now you're shocked I'm still alive. So what's the real story? Why are you actually here? Because something tells me this isn't exactly a government-sanctioned meet and greet with humanity." The aliens stared at him, seemingly stunned by his directness. Suddenly, Vulsin's multi-eyes widened, and she blurted out, "Terran, do you possess a death beam?" Rex rolled his eyes. "Seriously? You fell for that?" "No, I don't have a death beam. I made that up. I was naked, tied to a table, and you guys were talking about disposal methods. What did you expect? I was improvising." He paused. "And since we're being honest, you guys aren't actually here officially, aren't you? Your government didn't send you." Vulsin's gaze flickered to the captain, then back to Rex. "Negative. Our government is unaware of our presence here." Captain Squiggle Eyes let out a low growl, clearly agitated. "Vulsin, that information is not for the Terran." Whoa, Rex interrupted, holding up his hands. "Rule 3. No more lies and no more power games between yourselves. We either talk, openly and honestly, or I don't help you. And trust me, you need my help, especially if you're going rogue." The aliens exchanged another series of multi-eyed glances. The yellowish guard, cackling, shifted its weapon slightly. Slowly, reluctantly, they began to form a semicircle around Rex, a clear indication they were ready to talk. "All right," Rex said, a newfound confidence in his voice. "2 questions. First, what happens if the Chimera actually do attack? And second, why in the universe do you think we can help?" One of the grey guards, its voice a deep rumble that somehow translated clearly, answered the first question. "If the Chimera reach this sector, your species will be replaced. Likely by another iteration of their perfected warriors. Possibly even us." Vulsin clarified, her voice now devoid of the previous hesitation. "Your species, Terran, while indigenous to this world, was significantly augmented by the Chimera during the ancient cycles. They sought to create the ultimate warrior species." Rex scoffed. "Ultimate warrior? Really? We're not even the strongest or fastest things on our own planet. Have you seen a grizzly bear or a cheetah? We're basically squishy, hairless apes." Vulsin's multi-eyes seemed to fixate on him. "It is not merely physical prowess, Terran. It is the hell-world experience that shapes you as warriors. Your planet. It is a crucible." Rex's eye twitched. "All right, new rule. Rule 4. Stop calling Earth a hell world. It has sunshine and pizza and puppies. It's awesome." A section of the bridge wall shimmered, transforming into a screen. A moving image appeared, the armored Neanderthal Rex had seen before. This time, it was engaged in combat. The heavy, squat figure effortlessly absorbed blasts of energy from a grotesque serpent squid alien, its armor deflecting the attacks with ease. Then, with a chilling efficiency, the Neanderthal fired its own weapon, obliterating the alien, before stomping its head into a fine paste. Another, unmistakably modern human figure, also clad in similar high-tech armor, sprinted past, firing a handheld weapon with brutal precision. The image froze. Rex felt a cold knot in his stomach. The brutality of the scene, the visceral reality of the violence, was deeply unsettling. "These are recordings," Volson explained, her voice flat, "from whenever your species was deployed during the third wave invasion. These events are remarkably consistent." Rex felt a wave of nausea, finding the brutality disturbingly real. "So we're not just tough cookies, we're actually cosmic super soldiers." "Great. Just great." Volson continued, unaware of Rex's internal turmoil. "It is important to note, Terran, that our ship operates at a reduced gravitational constant. Your homeworld, its gravitational pull is approximately 20% higher than the galactic average for habitable planets. Additionally, your oxygen concentration is slightly lower." "Wait a minute," Rex thought, a flicker of understanding. "Higher gravity? Lower oxygen?" Rex was enduring what felt like the most bizarre high school gym class of his life. The aliens were putting him through a battery of physical tests, jumping, climbing, pulling ropes, even standing on one leg while they poked him with various sensors. He hated gym in high school, but at least then he wasn't being watched by spider-eyed aliens. The only upside? They'd finally let him out of the bulky hazmat suit, giving him surprisingly comfortable pants and a shirt made of some strange synthetic fabric that felt like a cloud. The downside was the purple mist. Every few minutes, nozzles in the ceiling would spray him with a foul-smelling purple mist that made him cough and sputter. Volson, ever the meticulous scientist, explained it was for decontamination. "Your Terran microbes are remarkably tenacious, Rex," she stated, her multi-eyes fixed on him. "They continually recolonize your immediate environment, even after extensive purging." "Yeah, Lysol has the same problem," Rex quipped, wiping a bit of purple mist from his nose. He noticed Captain Squiggle Eyes was unusually quiet, just observing him with an unnerving intensity. It made Rex uneasy. To lighten the mood, and maybe impress them a little, Rex started juggling the various sensor balls they were throwing at him. He expertly kept 3, then 4, then 5 of the spherical devices airborne, a sly grin spreading across his face. He noticed the aliens' many feet scrambling slightly, a clear sign of their surprise. "Ha! Take that, alien science nerds! Who's the simple primitive now?" He was just planning a grand finale, a flourish to end his juggling act, when the nozzles above him hummed, and another wave of the purple mist descended. He choked, stumbled, and the balls scattered across the floor. "Ugh, your cure's worse than the disease." Rex coughed, spitting out a bit of the acrid mist. Captain Squiggle Eyes finally spoke, its voice a low rumble. "Impressive, Terran. You have exceeded all expectations. We can cease testing." Then, to Rex's utter shock, the 2 aliens began to peel off their own hazmat suits. Rex stared, aghast. Whoa, what are you doing? I'm still contagious." "You just told me my germs are super resistant." The captain emerged from its suit, its spider-like face now fully exposed. "Indeed. However, the nanobots we introduced into your bloodstream after your last incapacitation have neutralized the highly pathogenic variants. The remaining microbial flora are inert, or at least no longer dangerous to us." Rex froze. Nanobots. Neutralized. Then it hit him like a freight train. "Wait a minute. That mist, that wasn't an antibiotic, was it? That was a chemical weapon. You guys were trying to chemically sterilize me." He glared at them, rage bubbling up inside him. "And I'm immune to that too!" The anger was instantaneous, hot and consuming. They had lied to him. Again. And they had tried to poison him. In a blur of motion, Rex lunged. He grabbed Captain Squiggle Eyes by its thin, scaly neck and slammed it against the nearest wall with a satisfying thud. The other 2 guards instantly drew their weapons, but Vulsin screamed, "Do not fire, you will hit the captain." Rex saw the captain's hand instinctively reach for its wrist bracelet, the same one Rex had seen it used to activate the invisible force field earlier. He let go just in time. An unseen wall of force slammed into Rex, not against the wall this time, but against his back, sending him flying across the room to hit the far wall with a sickening crunch. A jolt of agonizing pain shot through his spine. "You promised not to try and kill me," Rex yelled, gasping for air, clutching his back. The captain, limping slightly, adjusted its neck. "I was confident you would survive, Terran." "You coward!" Rex snarled, pushing himself up, fire in his eyes despite the pain. "Turn off your little force field. Come at me like a real fighter." The captain tilted its head, its many eyes fixed on him. "Why should I disarm myself against a weapon?" Rex's frustration boiled over, but then, a mischievous idea sparked in his mind. He began to cough violently, dramatically, clutching his chest. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, he began to move his arms and legs, planting his bare feet against the wall behind him, as if trying to steady himself. "This," Rex wheezed, his voice barely a whisper, "this is why humanity will ultimately choose the Chimera." Captain Squiggle Eyes leaned closer, its multi-eyes narrowed in confusion, trying to hear his final dying words. "What was that, Terran? Speak clearly." Rex looked up, his eyes suddenly clear and sharp, a feral grin spreading across his face. "I said you're a prick!" And then, with a surge of strength fueled by pure spite and adrenaline, Rex slammed his hands against the wall, kicking off with his legs. The invisible force field was too strong for him to stand, but it was enough to propel him forward, to lift him just high enough. His bare foot connected with the captain's head with a sickening crack. The captain's head slammed against the wall behind it, leaving a dark, viscous trail of alien blood. The pressure holding Rex immediately cut out, and he tumbled to the floor. He heard the telltale clicks and whirs of alien weapons aiming at him. Then, the intense pain finally overwhelmed him, and the world went black once more. When Rex came to, the pain was still there, a dull ache that resonated through his bones, especially his spine. But the interesting part was what he was learning. Vulsin, the science officer, seemed to have taken it upon herself to explain everything, perhaps as a way to mollify him after the whole attempted chemical warfare incident. "Your planet's higher gravitational constant," Vulsin explained, her voice now calm and academic, "means that on worlds with standard galactic gravity, like this ship, your musculature operates with significantly increased efficiency. You are in essence stronger and possess greater endurance on alien worlds than on your own." The bridge wall, still acting as a screen, displayed a human skeleton. Vulsin pointed a long, multi-jointed finger at it. "Furthermore, your bone structure is extraordinary. Denser than steel of comparable weight, yet surprisingly lightweight and resistant to fracture. So I'm basically a low-gravity Superman with superbones." "Neat. But why didn't anyone tell me this before?" Vulsin continued, tapping at the screen. "And your neurological pathways. They demonstrate remarkably swift reaction times. Moreover, your species exhibits a unique integration capacity with intelligent armor. You appear to be inherently familiar with allowing an external interface to manipulate your bodily systems." Rex scowled. "Wait, manipulate my bodily systems? You mean like brain-controlled armor? That just sounds creepy. And frankly, this is all great if you want a bunch of really tough ground troops. But aren't most major battles in space just ship-to-ship, lasers and explosions and cool special effects?" Vulsin's multi-eyes seemed to express a hint of bewilderment. "Ship-to-ship engagements are prohibitively complex and brief. The primary objective in galactic warfare is the prevention of enemy landings. Once planetary infiltration occurs, the conflict invariably devolves to ground combat." Rex frowned. "So, no big space battles, just a bunch of guys running around on the ground. Why don't you just blow up the ground troops from orbit?" The aliens around him fell silent. Rex watched them, noting their blank expressions. A thought, unsettling and almost comical, began to form in his mind. They don't understand basic tactics, do they? They literally have no idea how to fight on a planet from orbit. Huh. Interesting.